Water, huh? This movie heavily gives water as symbol throughout the film, sprinkled in. And no wonder why. If you watched it the entirety, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. But since we're only talking about it from the perspective of a person who had watched it already, so if you have not watched it, I encourage you to go and watch the entire flick and then get back and watch this video because there are a lot of things that I would like to unpack. Cheers. So this film actually has two stories. One is about a Wall Street company and another is a welfare institute. One destroys you with promises, with fraud and with ambition, and another destroys you with false healing, peace. The idea is great, but at the last section of the film literally forgets that it even existed. So the film does not start off with the Institute. It starts off with Reynolds. He's an executive in a Wall Street company, and currently, at the very start of the film, they show that he's in panic. He could not handle the pressure because it exposes the current state of the company. And the current state of the company is actually they have made some frauds and they did some fraudulent activities, and because of that, that guy could not handle the pressure, and because of that, he just passed away. His death exposes the massive fraud that they were doing and they were conducting, and the CEO of the company, Pemberton, he ran away to the institute in the pursuit of getting peace. So that's the condition where it all started, and that is the reason why people want to send Lockhart to get CEO, not because that they love him and they want the company to stabilize, but they want to show people that CEO is the guy who was actually at behind of all of this. And Lockhart itself had made some fabrications and did some frauds and written down some of the false statements, and because of that they made it a perfect candidate to bring Pemberton back. And that's it what all started this whole frenzy. So let me talk about Lockhart. Lockhart is not a hero. He's not the guy who is sent out to save the company. He is actually the third version of a person in this cycle. His own father was a Wall Street person, and he could not handle the pressure that's been put on, and because of that his father took his own life. Then comes Reynolds, pretty much the same story, and as opposed to run away from being that person, he took it upon himself and he made himself the same person that he set out not to be. Now, because of that, he also falsified some of the documents of the company, so the board knew that he's the perfect candidate to bring Pemberton back. And if it didn't, it's not actually a request from the board, it's actually a threat that if you didn't do it, then we will let the public know, which the film did not explicitly mentions, but in the novel, that's how it all go out. My God, it's getting hot in here. Look at the sweat. I'm sweating. Hey guys, so if you're still watching, you know how it feels, right? It's the middle of the summer day and I do not have any air conditioning or fan on. And it's super hot, but I want to make this video. And I'm doing this for you. So if you want to help me, then subscribe, would you? That's the only way you can help me keep making these videos. So let me drink water for a second, then I'll be back. So water, huh? That's the main theme of this film. So since we're talking about water, let me talk about the institute itself and how it traps people. So basically, the institute is run by Volmer. He's the guy who is the brain of the operation. And what happens is this is a wellness treatment center out in the Swiss Alpines, right? And people go there to leave the stress out, and they are the only people who are being targeted are the people who are stressed out, they're exhausted because of their work, because of their lifestyle, and they go there and they feel euphoric. They feel calm, collected, and because of that, they goes there and they live there, and they do not want to be returned back to their life, which is a question mark, like why. But we're going to unpack that later. But for the most part, the water and the treatment makes people feel better. And what happens in reality is the castle itself sits on an aquifer. It's an aquifer that contains a rare phosphoric compound that has an anti-aging properties, and Volmer harvests all those through eels. So in the water there are eels, and they're the one who are feeding off the people, and Volmer is actually using those people as batteries so he can use that water for himself, so that way it won't let it age. So that's pretty much the premise of this whole story. So why do you think that people does not want to leave that institute? The film itself does not answer it very well, but we're going to get to that later. But this is pretty much the premise of the institute itself. So let me talk about Lockhart. So basically, Lockhart find himself in an accident. A deer ran away and it shattered the windshield, and as he woke up, he found himself in the institute with a broken leg. So that's pretty much the premise. But as he went and see Pemberton, he find himself very peaceful, unrecognizable, and the reason because Pemberton, before he came to the institute, he was very feeling guilty because the company and the fraud has been exposed. So because of that, he was very stressed out. And now he's finding himself very peaceful, very calm and collected. And this is because, as you know, of the water. So because of that, he does not want to leave. So this is how the trap works. It does not necessarily need any chains. All it needs is give what people want. And what people want is calmness and relief and open and recollection. And that's exactly what they get. Among all the dazed patients, one person stood out, and she is Hannah. She's not like the other patients who are there because they are drained or exhausted. Hannah, she's different. She was never been out of the castle. She has no friends, no school, and this is what makes her stand out. And this is why Lockhart notices her. And because of that, Walmer notices Lockhart because she is being noticed by Lockhart. Now, there's much more darker intention for Walmer to keep Hannah. And the darker version is something which comes at the very end of the film. But for the most part, she is very calm, very collected, and she knew from the very start that she is alright, even though Walmer told her that she is ill, and because of the sickness, she is being hospitalized there by his father, and his father will come back when she will get better, and we know that that's not going to happen. So that's pretty much what Hannah is. She's pretty much stuck in this trap without even knowing that there's something far more sinister that Volmer has stored for her. So let's talk about what Lockhart found in the archives and the portraits and the documents that's been stored and kept for centuries. What he finds out is what Volmer, the person who is in charge of the institute, his original name was Baron, and he is the 18th century nobleman who was obsessed with the purity of the bloodline, and he's the same guy who owned this castle centuries ago. So, because he wants purity for his blood, so what he wanted to do is he does not want to mix or fabricate his blood with the impurity of the outsider. So what he did, he actually married his own sister. Yeah, you heard that right. This story is an incestuous story to begin with. And what he did was he impregnated his own sister, and once the villagers found out, they burned this whole castle down, and they thought that the baron has died with his sister, but his sister passed away, but he did not. So what he did, he reinvented himself across his generations and became Dr. Volmer, and he's the guy who was directly now operating this institute for the sake of wellness and well-being. But you know what's going on here, because the whole operation is, it's not the patient treatments, it's the institute. It's just to get the energy out and minerals out of the patients as they throw their body into the water, and eels, they just eat them up. And this is what's the whole story was, and that's what keeping Baron alive and not aging for centuries now. So this is pretty much the gist of the whole operation. Hannah is actually the daughter of Volmer and his sister. So the compound found in the water has kept her in the permanent youth, though her real age was never revealed, but that was deliberate. She's been the prisoner her entire life, and that's for a purpose. The real intentions for keeping Hannah alive throughout the years was just so Volmer can marry her. Yes, her obsession or his obsession with the purity of bloodline continues, and it's pretty much stuck in his life centuries ago. And the entire institute, every patient drained, every decade of operation, everything was just to buy time until she becomes a woman. And that's exactly what happened when she met Lockhart, and that triggered her internal that time of the month, and that's what made Lockhart the real target for Baron. But now you know. There you go, my lovelies. This was the premise of A Cure of Wellness. If you've enjoyed it, please hit thumbs up. I try to answer as many questions as possible that the film doesn't explicitly tells us. So, do you like with my interpretation at the very end of the film that it was kind of feel rushed, even though the starting, the mid was terrific, top notch? I would give this 7 out of 10 just because the ending was a little bit messed up. But other than that, it's a solid 7. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down your thoughts on it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.